Welcome to episode 29 of Shane Talks. If you know the shtick of the show, every episode that ends in 9, we go back to the year 1999 and we talk about some topic related to that. Tonight's episode is going to be MTV in 1999. Also kind of in 2000 because we're going to look at the 1999, or the 2000 MTV Movie Awards, which were for the movies that came out in 1999. Going to compare them to some of the Oscar winners and see how the Oscar voters and the younger generation differ and who they nominated for movies that year. And then we're going to look at the 99 top requested music videos from TRL, a television show that MTV used to have. We're gonna look at those 99. We're not gonna talk about all of them, but we're gonna pick some of our favorites out to just talk about like the videos that we remember from back then. Tonight, the beer that I am drinking is Sun King's one of their newest releases that came out this week. They've released it before, but it's the season for it. It's called Wee Muckle. It's a toffee porter, basically. Absolutely delicious. Goes down really easy. Has a nice candy-ish like flavor to it. Really enjoyable beer. It's very similar to their Wee Mac, except this one doesn't have any chocolate or cacao or anything like that in it. It's basically, it doesn't have any molasses in it. It's literally just a toffee, like thick, creamy flavor to it. Really fun. I recommend it if you like Scottish-style beers and whatnot. Tonight, I am joined by Jason Richardson, who's back on the show, and a super babyface Jason Mayer. That's all gone and clean shaven, man. That's crazy. So we are going to get into talking about the MTV Movie Awards in just a second, because before we do that, I got another topic I want to throw at you guys. Since the three of us were all on here on the 2020 episode talking about our favorite things, both of you gentlemen have watched Ted Lasso. Both of you had really good things to say about Ted Lasso. So I got 2 questions for each of you. I just want to know how long it took you to actually get into the show, to really enjoy watching it, and then what scene from the show stands out the most to you.
Jaber, go first.
Yeah, Jaber, you can go first.
I was immediately sucked in.
Good.
I just thought it was, I don't know, for some reason, I was trying to relate this show to other things that have come out in the past, and I couldn't really compare it to anything else. And so to me, even though it dealt with sports, it was very well character driven, and I think you really kind of barely got into the whole soccer sports thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like that. But I don't think I've ever seen a character like Ted Lasso before.
Sure.
So to me, that was refreshing. My favorite part or scene from that, I mean, there were so many good scenes, but I think my favorite was probably when there's a moment where someone confesses something to him and he forgives them.
That is a very powerful scene.
Very just simple, and I kind of thought, wow, maybe I should, kind of implement some of that in my life.
Sure.
And let go and not hold on to grudges. But sometimes, you have to.
Of course. Mayor, how long did it take you to get into it?
Jaybird, you just said sometimes you have to hold on to those grudges. You don't really have to, but you can't let them go. I know that it's difficult for all, and there's reasons why you have grudges. So
baby steps.
I will totally agree with you. Shane, one of the best things I've seen lately. And I will totally agree with Jaybird that I was hooked from episode 1. Like,
good.
It didn't take me long. He's just nice.
Mm-hmm.
He's just nice. And you don't really see that with a lot of characters, TV movies and such.
And there's no snarkiness. I mean, there's a little bit of playfulness, but it's not snarky, like
right,
sarcastic. That's
exactly
permeates in everything nowadays. And I'm guilty of it in my own life as well. So, but like it definitely, he's. I can't think of a better term than silly. Like,
sure,
and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, like, he just is like. enjoying things, just everything while it's happening.
Well, you could tell everyone, was annoyed with it at the beginning, but he grew on people, and then you could see the smiles that he brought to people's faces because he was just so genuine,
And I think there's so many good things that happen.
Sure.
The forgiveness scene was something that was huge, and it was great. I think the scene with him and his wife in London, right before
when they're saying goodbye, yep.
Is just like you just like. Yeah, it was really, really well done. I've already told multiple people that if they have Apple TV that they need to watch it.
Yeah. I like the fact that he made the biscuit cookie things too.
And he wouldn't tell her like where they came from and stuff like that. Like that was a good running joke. The other great thing about it is like those first couple episodes, you don't realize like what's going on in his personal life. They just kind of like slowly peel that onion back for you to see like the layers of what, like this is a guy who on every outward appearance is attempting to be fun and silly and goofy and make everybody, have a good time. And then you don't realize like his personal life is pretty bad. And he is dealing with a lot of emotional stuff. The karaoke sequence is an awesome example of just like where that character gets to, like, when him and Rebecca have their conversation outside after during the karaoke sequence. It's just, that's amazing. Like Jason said, the conversation with his wife was amazing. The forgiveness scene is good. The bar sequence where he plays darts is literally probably my favorite sequence in the show.
That's a good scene. I think too.
Shane White though, like.
What?
If anybody's ever watched Reunion, that bar, the dart sequence is pretty it's like the smoothest version of what Shane would write essentially. But yeah, the dart sequence is really cool. I just think that another really good sequence for me was the exorcism sequence.
Oh yeah,
it's how he's getting everybody to buy in. And then what happens immediately after that? Like
sure.
It's just
camaraderie.
Earlier in the show, when I am drawing a blank on his name, oh my god, the angry guy, the guy with the beard,
the older soccer guy.
Yeah, the older guy. Why am I not remembering his name?
Kent.
Roy Kent, thank you. Yes, when Roy comes in and he's like, "Hey, you need to, tell Jamie and his friends to stop making fun of Nate," and Lasso's like, "Nah, not gonna do it." And then it pisses off Roy. When he walks out, Beard is like, "Why'd you just piss him off?" And Ted Lasso was like, "Because me doing something isn't gonna change anything. That's the guy that needs to take control of this locker room, and people will listen to him." And it's just like, it's so awesome how Ted has a plan. And it literally just involves making people better.
Right, yeah.
Like better versions of themselves.
I think it's one of the few TV shows, too, where every episode was legit. A lot of times when you watch a series and there's like one or two episodes where it kind of drags out a little bit and they're doing some backstory and all the characters aren't in this one episode and they're just centering on one. I didn't feel that in this. Every episode was just good. I didn't feel bored by any episode whatsoever.
And I know your Facebook post, you were on episode 3 when you made the post that said you were watching the show. And I commented that is my favorite, full episode from start to finish, just because I really love spending the day with Trent Krim. And then the last couple of minutes of that episode when they're reading the article that he wrote about that day of hanging out with him, it's so brutally honest yet still supportive of Ted Lasso that I'm just like, this was such a great payoff for that episode.
And yeah, I'm very excited for season 2, and I'm glad that they in case people watch this, I don't want to give it away. So
sure. What were you about to say, Mayor?
I was going to say, and I don't follow celebrity stuff all the time.
Sure.
So to read about what he's going through in his personal life while he's having to make this show is just one of those moments where you're like, oh damn, it's even like
he
and a younger guy too.
Yeah, he probably drew from personal experience with that stuff.
And but he wrote most, he's one of the main writers.
Yep.
And it's just like, and it's just.
Well, and that's the thing that I think is awesome. Him, Coach Beard, and Roy Kent are the three like head writers of the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're so Jason Sudeikis had done the Ted Lasso character for the TV stuff, or for the NBC Sports commercials, and then him and the guy that plays Coach Beard kind of started writing like episodes of it because some producer had told them, hey, let's make a show together, so they started writing episodes about Ted Lasso. That didn't end up going anywhere, so it sat on the shelf for a couple of years. And then just like 2 or 3 years ago, somebody came to him and was like, hey, you got any TV shows or stuff you want to do? And he was like, oh, actually, yeah, I've been sitting on this Ted Lasso thing for a while. But Coach Beard is apparently a big European soccer fan, so that's why he was working with him to like get all that like stuff right.
And dude, I love it. You can always draw parallels. If it's a really well done show, you can draw parallels between you and your personal life. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there thinking about it, and I'm like, this is so like if me and Shane went across the pond and I was the coach. Because here's Shane, who actually cares and knows everything about soccer overseas, and here's me, who doesn't really care, and it's just like soccer's supposed to be fun. Like, and so I really dig that. I just, it's just so well, like I can't do anything else besides say it's really well done. Spend your time. It took me 3 days. Sure. I powered through super fast, and that's only because of the fact that I fell in love with the show. It's just really, really well done. It's probably high on my list of top shows of all time, and I'm not trying to just smoke up people's butts because of the fact that it's something new and interesting. It's just that well done and that enjoyable of a show to watch. So,
and the other thing we haven't even talked about in any of the times we've talked about the show is I love the wordplay in the show, like the writing with the wordplay and like English, British words and how they mean different things over here and how they make plays and jokes off of those things. That's just some super excellent writing in my opinion.
And one of my favorite other sequences is the one where Beard finally lets him have it.
Oh, yes. Yep. Because he won't bench Roy.
No, the one when he's at the pub.
Yeah, well,
but they're, of the episode.
Yeah, but they're getting in the argument because he wouldn't bench Roy Kent. He refused to put him on the bench.
Okay.
And Beard starts yelling at him about the fact that like you're caring more about one player's feelings than what's actually the best thing for the team.
The team, yeah.
Was that in the pub before the final game?
Yeah, that was. I think that's the end of episode 9, maybe.
I don't know. I just remember him just talking about winning does matter to these people.
Yeah, because like when we were back in Oklahoma, it was just a bunch of kids and they didn't really care about winning, but people here do care. Yeah, that's a really good speech. And obviously, Jason and I were texting about the Iron Giant sequence because that's just perfect.
Yeah.
Around the 74, will you keep an eye on these guys? Because around the 74-minute mark, there's going to be a bunch of crying men. And Beard's like, yep, I'm going to be one of them.
In 1999, as a matter of fact.
Yes,
so let's
sir.
get the topic here.
All right, let's get to the MTV Movie Awards of 1999. Sarah Jessica Parker hosted it. The MTV Movie Awards always did like a goofy opening sequence with the host. I can't remember. I know Jimmy Fallon did one time that I really enjoyed. But the Sarah Jessica Parker one was her and the other 3 girls from Sex and the City. She told them a story about her life being like getting caught up in the Matrix. Do either of you guys remember that opening sequence?
Of the Matrix?
No, the opening sequence of the Oscars where Sarah Jessica Parker was telling the story about being in the Matrix. No?
No.
Cool. Obviously not memorable at all. So when I originally conceived this episode, I thought we'd be comparing a bunch of categories between the MTV Movie Awards and the Oscars. And so when I sat down to finally do my homework and research for this script, I learned that they share 3 categories. Best Movie, Best Actor, Best Actress. That's it. So we're going to look over those 3 categories real quick. The MTV Movie Awards nominated American Beauty, American Pie, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, The Matrix, and The Sixth Sense for their Best Picture of the Year. Now we're going to compare that to two of those copied over. American Beauty and The Sixth Sense were both nominated for the Oscars, but then the Oscars decided to select Cider House Rules, The Green Mile, and The Insider.
Which, you know, like, you look at the Oscar list and it's not bad. Like,
No.
I mean, besides me hating American Beauty with passion, those 5 movies for the Oscars are not bad movies.
Nope.
So
very, very much skewing towards the art house product than the voters for the MTV did. Because The Matrix ended up being the MTV Movie Awards Best Movie, and it wasn't even nominated for the Oscars. Yep. So, obviously there is a huge generational gap there between the voters and like what we were just talking before we started recording, that this year, 1999, and part of the reason it's absolutely so special to me was Jason Mayer and I were literally hanging out almost every single day, and I was working with Jason Richardson at the time, so we used to, the three of us would get together with a bunch of other people at like Perkins or Denny's at midnight, stay till 5 o'clock in the morning. This was before cell phones and texting. I mean, cell phones were around, but they weren't like used for texting and surfing the internet, so we would literally sit around and talk about movies or talk about music or talk about things and engage with each other in like face-to-face situations.
Which is funny because you say that, and then the other funny thing about cell phones at that point in time was what? They were 25 cents a minute or something like that.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Can you imagine back in 1999 hearing the words Wi-Fi? Like, what?
No.
Wi-Fi?
Of the 5 movies that were nominated in the MTVs, do you guys think The Matrix was the best of those? Or, I mean, I'd probably...
Well, for MTV, that's just... Matrix is targeted to that audience.
It had a kick-ass soundtrack. It had, Marilyn Manson on it.
But the movie just itself, I mean, appeals to that MTV audience. So that was supposed to be the winner at that. That was supposed to win.
Mayor, what you just said, I would have, if I was voting on those 5, I would have voted for The Sixth Sense to be the best movie of those 5.
I personally would have myself, but knowing the MTV thing, the Matrix kind of just taps into that audience.
Oh, sure.
And you got to think about it too. Here we are with 22 years of looking back, right? Because like The Sixth Sense, I think holds up better than The Matrix personally. Not saying The Matrix is a bad movie by any stretch, but The Sixth Sense is definitely something that holds up as a better film. Certainly out of those 5. Yeah, out of those 5, The Sixth Sense is probably the best film out of that entire category.
Well, I still see our Cider House Rule got a nomination. I'm like, really?
Well, and the other thing is truth be told, on that list, the movie I've watched the most amount of times is American Pie.
Like, yeah, but you know that's not great. I mean, it is for us, but it's not. It wasn't like something the best ever. So,
the next category that crosses over is Best Actor. Let's see. Not a single Best Actor crossed over. So the MTV generation was definitely on a completely different mindset from the Oscars. Keanu Reeves won for The Matrix, so as Jason said, like that was definitely the MTV generation like movie that year. Jim Carrey got nominated for Man on the Moon. Ryan Felipe got nominated for Cruel Intentions. And again, no reason he should have gotten a Razzie nomination. Adam Sandler got nominated for Big Daddy because it is an absolutely amazing film. And Bruce Willis got nominated for The Sixth Sense, which I'm kind of surprised that he didn't get the Oscar nomination, but we had Kevin Spacey for American Beauty, Russell Crowe for The Insider, Richard Farnsworth for The Straight Story, Sean Penn for The Sweet and Lowdown, and then Denzel for Hurricane. Was Keanu Reeves the best actor out of the 5 that got nominated in the MTV movie category?
Again, it's MTV. Sure. It fits.
What would your vote have been, Jaybird?
It probably would have been Bruce Willis, but again, it's MTV.
Sure.
And they want an audience, so.
Well, aren't these all voted on by the people? Like the people?
Yeah, these are voted on by.
What we know of. I mean,
well, I mean, I guess
good point.
we should address the fact that part of the reason why I really wanted you, and I had invited Chris Schneider on this episode also, but he is in Florida, so he would rather be on the beach than hang out with us. But I wanted both of you guys on here specifically because we're talking about music and MTV from then. Both of you guys were radio DJs back in 1999. I mean, you're technically still a radio DJ, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm just on COVID break.
Sure. So, do you have any insider stuff from like MTV stuff back then? Was it actually voted on, or was it?
I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I think we thought, but I mean, again, if you look at the stuff that won, I mean, it's pretty bluntly obvious. So whether it's true or not, meaning if it were really based on votes,
Sure.
It's what needed to win in order to lure an audience in.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure if it was rigged or what,
Gotcha. Mayor, what would your vote have been between the five guys if you were voting?
You're probably looking at Bruce Willis personally for me. And I know that some people would definitely pick Jim Carrey because of his Andy Kaufman impersonation on that movie. But, I've actually never watched the entire thing, so I've never sat through that. So
I was a huge Man on the Moon fan when it came out because I was a huge Andy Kaufman and Jim Carrey fan, so I did like the movie and enjoyed it. But if I didn't vote for Adam Sandler, it would have been for Bruce Willis.
I still have not. I've tried to get through Man on the Moon.
Wasn't it? Who's the director of that?
Milos Forman.
Yeah, that's right.
So the best female performance that we got here. Again, none of them cross over. Sarah Michelle Gellar won for Cruel Intentions.
Yeah, she did, baby.
Yeah.
Do it! Do it already! Sorry.
It's all right. Drew Barrymore got nominated for Jay Bird's favorite movie, Never Been Kissed. My girlfriend Nev Campbell got nominated for her worst interpretation. I know, that's pretty dumb. As much as I love Nev, like she didn't deserve any nomination for that movie. Ashley Judd got nominated for Double Jeopardy, which is just kind of a blah movie for me. And then Julia Roberts got nominated for Runaway Bride, which I absolutely hate. The Oscar nominees that year, Hilary Swank won for Boys Don't Cry, Annette Bening was nominated for American Beauty, Janet McTeer for Tumbleweeds, which I've never seen, I have no idea what that movie is, Julianne Moore for The End of the Affair, and Meryl Streep for Music of the Heart. Literally 5 art house movies on there, not a single popular movie on that list.
American Beauty was.
Yeah, American Beauty, yeah, but I'd still consider it an art house movie just for how.
Oh, sure, but that was a popular movie, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think again, Cruel Intentions is that fitting to that MTV crowd.
Yep.
My personal pick would have been Drew Barrymore because I just love that sweet little movie called Never Been Kissed. As far as with the Oscars, I think Hilary Swank was very deserving, although I had a tough time getting through that movie and I just couldn't finish it off. It was just too, I couldn't do it.
Sure.
But for the most of the film that I saw, she was excellent. But I kind of have a soft spot for Annette Bening in American Beauty. I thought she was fantastic in that. So
shut up, Mayor. I just don't understand how you can hate that movie so much.
Sucks.
And you're not alone.
Wins every day, hands down.
I think American Beauty, I think, is slightly, not completely parallel. There's some parallels with that movie with today, and these moments where, I think we can all relate to that, to those characters, where you get to a point in your life where you're just like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a shit. And then you've got being Kevin Spacey and just kind of doing what he wants to do and kind of letting go and just being him and cutting loose,
Sure.
And then you've got, Annette Bening, who's just really uptight about perfection and if she's not number one, basically she has a nervous breakdown.
I agree.
A mental breakdown, and I think a lot of people can relate to that today.
I really enjoy Kevin Spacey. When I watch the movie, I root for him as a character. He's trying to better his life. He's trying to be a better person. He's trying to find himself, like midlife crisis, try to find himself. One little moment of misunderstanding ends up resulting in what happens at the beginning/end of the movie, and it's kind of tragic in my opinion how his story plays out. But all right, I know Mayor hates it. We'll move on from American Beauty. So Mayor, you would have voted for Sarah Michelle no matter what, correct?
Oh well, definitely with the MTV side for sure.
The Oscar side.
The Oscar side,
You like Music of the Heart, right?
Well, it ain't gonna be Janet McTeer and Tumbleweeds.
I literally have no idea what that movie is.
Something to play to Castleton.
You know what? I mean, I think out of that list, probably Hilary Swank.
Okay.
I like Meryl Streep's performance in Music of the Heart, but the movie is just a there kind of thing. I enjoy it a lot, but the one or two times that Wes Craven decided to dip his toes out of the horror zone,
right?
And it's really good. It's an inspiring movie. I like movies about music or musicals, so like it's fine and it works and it's touching. But
now they renamed that movie because of like an NSYNC song or something, right?
They made a song called "Music of My Heart" with Gloria Estefan. NSYNC did.
Gotcha.
So,
and because I'm pretty sure that movie had a different title before it was Music of the Heart.
I think it was like Music Teacher or something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So those were the three categories that we were able to compare. Obviously, as we've learned, the MTV generation had a completely different outlook on movies than the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences did at that point. So the upcoming categories that we're going to talk about, first one is Breakthrough Male Performance. We had Haley Joel Osment from The Sixth Sense, who ended up winning this category. Wes Bentley in American Beauty. I know Mayor will not be voting for him. Jason Biggs in American Pie. Michael Clark Duncan in The Green Mile. And then Jamie Foxx in Any Given Sunday. You guys think anybody should have beat out Haley Joel?
My name is Willie. Willie,
no.
Be creaming in the ladies. Be creaming.
No.
I honestly, looking at this list and thinking back to 1999, I might have given it to Jason Biggs instead of Haley Joel Osment as far as being a breakout star. I think Haley Joel did a great job, but like Jason Biggs, just like that was an explosion of showing up, and
sure.
I mean, it was a flash in the pan for him too. Unfortunately, he hasn't done a whole lot since then. So besides the American Pie sequels, so
sure.
But he became huge at that point.
Well, and it was a really good script, a fun character, a very physical humor character. I wouldn't argue Jason Biggs on this list. I think he did an amazing job in that movie.
I'm surprised that Jason Biggs did not win, given American Pie is more in MTV kind of audience.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if you're going to really be real about one of these categories and give it to the person who really deserves it, it's Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I totally understand why they gave it to him. I mean, I just think that I might have, especially I might have voted for Jason Biggs at that point in time.
I would probably be pretty torn between those also. And I like Michael Clark Duncan in The Green Mile, and he is very good in it, but I feel like he's just not since he's not the main character and he's just kind of like the side important character to it. I just feel like he doesn't get as much representation as like Jason Biggs and Haley Joel Osment did in their films.
And Jamie Foxx in Any Given Sunday, they were just trying to fill the category. I mean, for the name. I'm don't get me wrong, Jamie Foxx is amazing, but I was like, come on,
I'm not a fan of Any Given Sunday, so Best Breakthrough Female. Obviously, the voters got this one right. 100% Julia Stiles in 10 Things I Hate About You. 100% correct. Selma Blair in Cruel Intentions, Shannon Elizabeth in American Pie, Carrie Ann Moss in The Matrix, or Hilary Swank in Boys Don't Cry. You guys voting for anybody other than Julia?
Yeah, Shannon Elizabeth or Carrie Ann Moss can break it. Dude, neither one of them were heard of essentially before those movies. Julia Stiles, I knew who she was by the time she did 10 Things I Hate About You. Don't get me wrong. Love that movie. Think she's awesome in it. Wouldn't want anybody else to play that role.
But Shannon Elizabeth was barely in the fucking movie.
Yeah, but she, like, every moment she was on screen, she owned that moment. It's kind of like freaking, what was it?
That's what happens when you're naked on screen.
Judi Dench won Best Female Supporting Actor for Shakespeare in Love, and she had like a total of 5 minutes on screen.
Oh, I know, but at least, yeah, okay, we can agree to be different.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, Shannon Elizabeth, like, owns that screen every time she's on it. She looks hot. She gets naked. She's got the sexy, she's trying a sexy accent.
She had a 15-minute window. She was done.
And there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, you had never heard of her before that movie. And Carrie Ann Moss, I didn't know she existed before this movie.
I didn't either.
Where's your vote going, Richardson?
Stiles.
Okay, good. All right, cool. So the next category that MTV did was the best on-screen duo. The winner ended up being Mike Myers and Vern Troyer for Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. The other nominees were Tim Allen and Tom Hanks for Toy Story 2, Keanu and Lawrence Fishburne in The Matrix, Adam Sandler and the Sprouse Twins for Big Daddy, and then Bruce Willis and Haley Joel for The Sixth Sense.
You could argue for Sixth Sense and The Matrix on this
Agreed.
one.
Agreed.
Like Austin Power, like Vern Troyer and him, Mini-Me was a crazy sensation right after.
It was.
I mean, the first Austin Powers was a huge hit. And then you sit here and then you bring in the second one and then they raise the bar and then bring you in Mini-Me. I totally get why this won and how silly it was at the time, why they made that the best duo on screen.
Well, and looking at it from a Richardson standpoint, their main scene in that movie is their musical number where they do just the two of us, and for music television, that's probably what they were trying to go for.
Yeah. It's just Austin Powers, yet again, appeals to the MTV crowd. Yeah. Not that any of the others don't, but it's just...
It leans more into it.
Yeah, I don't even have to get into any of the others. They totally deserved it and they got it right.
Would that have been your vote?
It probably wouldn't have been my personal vote.
Okay, so what would yours have been?
But given the award show and the award, it's totally fitting.
So what would you have voted for?
It would be disappointment for Tom Hanks and Tim Allen to get it.
Oh,
at an MTV Movies Award, you know what I mean? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The one that makes the most sense is Mike Myers. It's pop culture.
But if you were voting, who would you have voted for?
Bruce Willis and Haley Joel Osment.
Nice. All right, this category I'm not a fan of who won, but I also don't know who I would have picked, to be honest. So the best villain category ended up going to Mike Myers for Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, which, to Jason Richardson's point, because that's an MTV movie. But he was up against Matt Damon in The Talented Mr. Ripley, Sarah Michelle Gellar in Cruel Intentions.
She should have got it.
Ray Park in Episode 1, and then Christopher Walken in Sleepy Hollow, who would not have been my vote. But Matt Damon was, like, creepy villain. Sarah Michelle Gellar was psychotic villain. And Ray Park was badass martial arts villain. So, like, I would have had a real tough time picking between the three of them.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, I think, deserved it more.
I mean,
it still would have fit with the audience of MTV and the award.
Well, and you got to look at it this way, right? Like you were talking about, if they are actually going off of real votes, she just won the best supporting or best actress. So you could be like, well, she doesn't. I mean, she's in this category.
Sure.
Since she's in, we don't have to give this to her. But as far as this goes, I would pick Sarah Michelle Gellar or Ray Park personally over Mike Myers.
Sure.
But keeping what we're saying, it makes perfect sense what's going on with if we're doing the MTV Movie Awards, then it's the MTV Movie Awards. So
yeah. The next category is the best comedic performance. Do you guys remember when Adam Sandler got nominated for a Razzie? Yeah, that was stupid because he won Best Comedic Performance at the MTV Movie Awards. He was followed up by Jason Biggs he was up against Jason Biggs from American Pie, Ice Cube in Next Friday, Mike Myers in The Spy Who Shagged Me, and Scream 3 somehow got nominated again by throwing in Parker Posey, which Sure, let's nominate the dumbest character in a horror film that's comedic. That's blah. So anyway, in your guys'
think
opinion,
they were scraping the. If any of them, it would be Sandler that deserved to win it. And again, it appeals to MTV. But I think all the other nominations, maybe Mike Myers, but Jason Biggs, Ice Cube, and Parker Posey, they needed to just put somebody's name in there to fill up to get 5. Because
sure,
to me, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
You could see Jason Biggs because of comedic performance.
And physical comedy, he was probably far superior to Sandler. I love Big Daddy, so I'm not sad that Adam Sandler won, but Jason Biggs probably did more physical comedy in American Pie than Sandler did. Next up, they got this right 100%. Best Kiss of the Year. Winner of Sarah Michelle Gellar and Selma Blair for Cruel Intentions. Very perfect winner. Drew Barrymore and Michael Vartan is probably who Richardson would have voted for.
No.
Okay.
They got it right.
Katie Holmes and Barry Watson in Teaching Miss Tingle. And then Hilary Swank and Chloe Savini in Boys Don't Cry. Very funny that we have 2 female-on-female kisses nominated this year.
Big surprise during this point in time.
Sure. So we're all in agreement that Cruel Intentions was the correct winner here?
Yeah.
All right. Best action sequence went to the pod race in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, which I can't lie, in 99 I might have thought that, but now it was definitely the rooftop helicopter scene in The Matrix, in my opinion. The other 2 nominees were the end of the Blair Witch Project, which was not an action sequence in any way and don't know why it was nominated, or the sand monster scene in The Mummy, which I absolutely love The Mummy and think is a lot of fun, but it pales in comparison to The Matrix.
Yeah, I'll totally agree with you. I would. Are you falling asleep because of The Mummy?
That was on HBO the other night, and I was like, click.
Oh, I love that movie.
This is the 1999 Brendan Fraser The Mummy, not the Tom Cruise Mummy. The Brendan Fraser one that's excellent and top-notch and fun and funny.
That
and
they should
witty.
not have made 2 more sequels out of.
Oh, no, the sequels I don't address those sequels. But the first 1999 Mummy is fun from top to bottom. Rick O'Connell is a fun and hilarious character. I'm probably gonna get hate for saying this, but he's like a cooler Han Solo.
See, I think he's a cooler Indiana Jones.
Oh,
So,
okay, all right, yeah, that's probably a better way to. We were in the Harrison Ford sphere.
But as far as this action sequence goes, I 100% every time would have picked the rooftop helicopter scene from The Matrix, even in 99. But the pod racing, I didn't understand why everybody loved the pod racing scene when it was on, because that wasn't the most exciting part of that entire movie is the sword fight or the.
For sure, the Duel of Fates. Yeah, how is Duel of Fates not on here instead of the pod race?
But whatever, it is what it is. It makes perfect sense. Put Star Wars on the map here in MTV land. So.
Jaybird, you got anything to say about the action sequences? How do you feel?
Star Wars.
All right, cool. The next category is kind of a blah one for me, probably because I'm not a South Park fan, but best musical sequence. Uncle Fucka from South Park ended up winning. I'm not a South Park fan. I don't like the movie. I've only ever watched it once because I hated it. just never been a South Park fan, so I mean, I understand it's a catchy song and all, but my vote would have been for Can't Take My Eyes Off of You, Heath Ledger and 10 Things I Hate About You. Then we've already talked about Just the Two of Us from Austin Powers. I would have picked that over Uncle Fucka. And then I've watched The Talented Mr. Ripley, but I don't remember this musical sequence in some Italian words that I don't know how to pronounce, and I'm not going to try. So I don't think any of us are going to pick that. Do you guys?
I really, it's kind of a I don't care category. Like I really just don't care. But I will say though that I think the 10 Things I Hate About You was a little ahead of its time.
Okay.
Because the movie didn't really lift off until like later. I think it became a cult hit because I worked at the theaters with that movie, and that wasn't a really popular movie. People didn't come in droves to see that movie.
That's because there was an employee ticket sold every day.
Well, after it was out of the theaters, but I'm surprised that they're popping up in these categories. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah. I loved the movie from the first time I saw it, so I'm always happy when it's successful. Mayor, what would your vote have been for?
Me personally, I think I probably would go for Can't Take My Eyes Off of You. Now, at that point in time back then, I might have been on the Mike Myers, Vern Troyer train for this, especially thinking of like the MTV generation when we were 19.
Sure.
I definitely can see why. And, Uncle Fucka won because of the fact that it was cussing while it was singing a song. So
sure.
That's the main reason it won. So.
I definitely agree with that's why it won. It was something people thought was cool that there was cursing in a movie soundtrack song.
I'm back. Did you miss me?
We did. You were frozen, and then it told me you were just Jason's iPhone, and now you're back, and I can see your beautiful face.
So did that make sense what I was saying?
Yeah, for sure. Totally made sense.
Okay, we can move on.
All right, best fight. Keanu and Lawrence Fishburne when they first enter the Matrix. Well, I mean, not first, but when Keanu finally wakes up in the Matrix. Mike Myers and Vern Troyer in Austin Powers. This is what should have won, as we were just talking about, the Duel of Fates from Star Wars, and then Ed Norton fighting himself in Fight Club. I like all of these except for the Austin Powers one, but I would have voted for the Phantom Menace because
I would have voted for Star Wars too.
Yeah, Mayor.
I would say Star Wars now, but considering how much the Matrix was like, not even
revolutionary.
Yeah, like considering how different that movie was and how they shot the action sequence between those two, like I can totally see why anybody would have picked it back then easily. So
yeah.
But yeah, and the Ed Norton versus himself in Fight Club fight is fun and cool and whatnot, but definitely wouldn't have been my best. Like to this day, the Duel of Fates is one of my favorite fight sequences I've ever seen on film. It's the best lightsaber scene in all 9 of the films.
It's the best films. It's the best sword fight ever. So
I don't want to disagree with you, but there was also some really cool fight scenes in the Clone Wars. I know you've watched them recently, so you saw a lot of the cool fight scenes in the Clone Wars they did.
Yeah, but that's like cartoon.
Yeah, but that's still a lightsaber battle in my eyes.
Okay, I'm talking about movie sword fight ever done. Live action people, best ever. No question.
All right, I'll give you that.
Shut up, just go on, let's move.
They gave the Best New Filmmaker Award to Spike Jonze, who had just done Being John Malkovich in 1999. I know we all watched it at Castleton, and we were all part of the craze of Being John Malkovich, but I didn't love it as much as most people do. I think it's a fine movie. Like
it's too intelligent for MTV.
Okay, that's an interesting way to look at it.
It does not fit at all with this.
Like, why wasn't the Wachowski brothers? Wasn't Matrix like one of their first movies?
Yeah.
their first.
So why wouldn't they have gotten Best New Filmmaker or something? You know, I mean, that's why that I just don't believe that people voted and Spike Jonze got the most votes. And it's not no punch on him. That movie is just kind of like a sore thumb out of this whole list of winners.
Sure.
Absolutely. It feels like it belongs with the Oscars way more than it does here.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's why I think that shit's rigged anyways.
All right, so that was part one of tonight's discussion. The next MTV category we're going to move on to was back in the 90s. There was a television show every single day that Carson Daly usually hosted. It was called TRL, Total Request Live.
It was the first thing I turned on when I got home from high school, just to have it on the background while I pulled out the rest of my homework to do whatever.
Sure, I think it came on at like 4:00 or whatever, so like just a little bit after we would get home from school.
You know what the worst part was? Is this, and I'm going to go on a small little rant here.
Do it.
Oh, who decided to do it? But somebody at MTV decided that it was a great idea that TRL becomes bigger than the music videos themselves.
Yeah.
At one time, they stopped showing you the entire music video. They would show you like a 90-second clip of it and then be like, on. And it was just like literally the only reason I was tuning in was to watch these videos. And I get it because the same videos sometimes were on the number one spot or on this countdown for months sometimes. But the fact remains that if they're on there, you should show the whole damn video.
Yeah, if people are requesting these because they want to see those videos, like you need to be playing them those videos.
Okay, well, and let's go with this thought process that Jaybird was talking about. Was this rigged too? Was this something that wasn't really ever requested, and it was literally just people? I think it was the record company buying into it
for sure,
buying popularity time. So.
Yep. It would never surprise me if it at some point came out that your theory is right, that it literally was what record company is willing to pay the most to be number one this day, or to buy number ones for this whole week, or we'll make you number one for a couple of days, but then something's going to knock you off, but then you're going to take it back. Like, I could definitely see, like, MTV executives, like, making their own narrative for something like TRL. Like, we all know that reality television isn't really reality television. Wrestling isn't really wrestling. Like, it's all scripted and put out there to make people.
World is not the real world.
The real world started out as the real world. It did not.
Sure.
It evolved into something stupid. I love those first few seasons of the real world. Like, legit. Especially up to season 4 in London where we got Jacinda Barrett. Like, loved that season.
Yeah, it was good.
But
then I fell off the wagon.
Yeah, I fell off the wagon around season 10-ish when they tried to start making them have jobs.
After New Orleans.
Which I feel might have been 5 or 6, somewhere in there.
I never watched the show. So
I enjoyed the social experiment concept of it. How much of it was real or not real, like, who knows? And again, whatever you film, you can always edit into a different story. Like, that's obviously something that happens in Hollywood all the time. You film something and figure out a way to edit it to look like it's something else. And to get really old and hate on millennials for a second, I don't think they understand that with their social media ingestion, that they don't realize that what they're actually looking at isn't real, even when it's presented as real.
Right.
That really just bothers me that they don't have the mindset to realize that not everything on the internet is real. Like, 95% of that stuff is faked to make you think that it's real.
And it's one of those things where, like, being a parent, my sons love to watch stuff on, like, YouTube and stuff.
Sure.
And they'll be like, Dad, did you know that this is, like, how this happened? And I'm like, yeah, that's not what really happened, man. Like, you have to believe that everybody on the internet is telling you a story for their version.
Yep.
And that's all that it is. And they're like, what do you mean? And I have to try and explain that there's a different versions depending on, I use the Kobe Bryant analogy a lot, where him and his kids were apparently talking at one point in time while they were driving somewhere, and talking about good and evil. And at one point in time, he was like, okay, a bee comes and it stings you. And he's like, is it a good thing or a bad thing? And his daughter was like, it's a bad thing. The bee shouldn't have stung me. And he goes, okay, but what if you didn't realize you were going to step on it? And in defense of it worrying about getting stepped on, it decided to sting you. And they were like, oh, well, I guess I'm kind of the bad guy because I'm going to step and ruin its house or whatever. And that's the reason why it stung me. And he's like, okay, so from one version is he stung you because you had no reason to be stung. But then another version is he's got every reason to do it. He's like,
Sure.
so with perspectives. And so I try to teach that to my kids as much as possible, that like everything has an angle and
Sure.
everybody's got a narrative that they're trying to push down your throat. So.
Exactly. So yeah, sorry I went off on that tangent on, the internet and stuff like that. But so Total Request Live, I'm pretty sure it was on from 4:00 to, was it a 2-hour show? Was it 4 to 6?
I think it was 4 to 6 originally. So.
Yeah. So like you were saying, I think they did 20 videos in those 2 hours. It was like the top 20 videos, but those like 20.
Then it got down to top 10, I thought.
I think it eventually did, but I think it started out doing 20.
Well, you figure every 20 is 20, and then like each song is about 3 minutes long, so you're looking at 60 minutes there with all the interviews and everything else. I think you're right. I think it started with the top 20, and then it got knocked down to a top 10 at some point.
Yeah,
in time.
Because like you were saying, like number 20 to number 10 or number 11, they wouldn't show you the whole video. They'd be like, "Oh, here's Waterfalls," and you'd get like the first song, the first verse and the chorus, and then they'd cut it out and be like, "All right, that was Waterfalls at 19. Let's move on."
Yeah, they would do that, but like at first they showed music videos for every single one all the way through. Then they cut the 11 through 20s down. I think you're right,
because they wanted interviews and stuff.
I think they went down to a top 10 and it was the whole music video still, but then they cut those down to the 90-second mark thing later on. So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I do have vivid memories from watching the show, and even the number one song, they wouldn't play the entire video.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, are you guys kidding me? Like, this was the number one voted song, but you want to cut back to Carson Daly talking to an audience member about something? Like,
they were just selling the song being number one to pay, because they were being paid by the record labels.
Yeah. I like I said a while ago, I will never be surprised if it comes out that is what actually was going on behind the scenes of that show.
I'm sure you could probably Google that at this point.
Sure.
Looking at the top 99, Shane.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Without you guys looking at your list anymore.
Okay.
Take your eyes off the list for a second. I'm going to ask you a question.
All right.
How many in the 99, how many times does Ricky Martin appear in the 99 without you guys looking at it?
2. But I'm assuming it's probably more based on the fact that you're asking that question.
Oh, no. I only saw 2. So, yeah, you're right. It's 2.
So it's Living La Vida Loca and She's All I Gotta Have. She's all I have.
And then She Bangs.
Take the Bon Bon.
Oh.
Those are the only
3?
There's 3?
I fucking hate Ricky Martin songs. With the exception, what's really weird? Number one, I was never on the Living La Vida Loca. I was never on that bandwagon. But of all his songs, She's All I Ever Had is actually my favorite song of Ricky Martin's.
Okay.
And I play that often. And the only reason why I do that is because it takes me back to that period.
Yep.
Where he was really big. And it's not a bad song, and it's not the greatest song ever. But if I ever have to listen to a Ricky Martin song, that's the one I want to listen to. And I actually play that every once in a while.
How many Britney Spears appear? How many times does Britney appear?
I mean, you just put up a 4, so I'm going to go with 4. Well, I want to talk real quick about the bottom 90 or the 90 to 99 because there's a couple of tracks on here that I really dig. Len Steal My Sunshine was on the Go soundtrack. I'm a huge Creed fan, so obviously Higher was on here, which that album just came out in like September or October of '99. So for it to be on the year-end top 100, kind of cool for that. Filters Take a
to play
Picture.
that group back in the day on the radio. Oh,
and they were awesome, and you enjoyed every minute of it. Filters Take a Picture is another song that I really enjoy. I actually
honestly thought Scott Stabb was just singing right now. Like I totally was. I went Jason Richardson went where? Because Scott Stabb's here now.
So Creed's Higher, yeah. Filters Take a Picture is a music video that I actually remember and love because of the fact that it has all mug shots from famous people, and since they're public record, like they just took everybody's mug shots and made them into a music video, which is the entire point behind Take a Picture. So I absolutely love that music video. And then 91 was Dre and Snoop, which is still Dre. I just enjoy Dre and Snoop together because I like both of them.
Yeah.
Moving down, anybody got anything in the 80s that they really enjoy? I see some Hard Knock Life.
Lit, My Own Worst Enemy.
Oh, Lit was one of my favorite bands at that point in time.
I like
Live by the Foo Fighters. Like, is a great song.
Oh, dude, yeah, and that music video is really awesome too.
I kind of liked. I went through a phase where I kind of liked the Jay-Z Hard Knock Life.
Yep.
I was like, how do you take an Annie song and put it in the hip hop? You know what I mean? With a little hip hop flair, and I just thought that was very creative.
Agreed. New from No Doubt was 82. And
I don't even know that song.
That's on the Go soundtrack. It was the No Doubt song on the Go soundtrack.
You in that Go movie.
I do love Go. I think we just jumped into this without me actually explaining what we were doing. We talked about TRL. At the end, actually on New Year's Eve, TRL did a top 99 videos of 1999. So it was the fake votes that they added up and decided what the most popular requested videos of 1999 were.
I like we're fake newsing this. We're not even like going to do the research to find
We're just assuming that it was all paid for at this point. But this, like I said, on New Year's Eve, TRL did a top 99 of 99 episode. I have no idea how long it was, but they apparently counted down from 99 to the most popular video or most requested video of 1999. So the three of us are going through that list of the top 99 requested videos. We're going to slide into the 70s now. Anything, Body Movin' by the Beastie Boys obviously was a great song.
For me, you guys may not remember it, but like Puff Daddy, Satisfy You was just a big song for the format of radio I was playing back then. That was just that definitely I forgot about that song until I looked at this list here, and then I'm kind of chuckling inside because here we are in 1999 and the Spice Girls done split up and Jerry Halliwell's got a solo song on there already. I'm like, they've already split up already. I can't believe that. And I can't even tell you what that song is, but
I've never heard it.
98 Degrees Because of You, I kind of have a soft spot for.
Jaybird, in 99, you were still at the hip hop radio station, right?
Yeah, hip hop pop. It was a mixture,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just making sure you hadn't switched over to ZPL yet.
Correct. I had not yet.
Cool. Jason, what's Mayor? What's
hilarious is Jerry Halliwell is on here, but so are the Spice Girls.
Oh, really?
They're further down the list. Sorry.
In the 70s,
I had to play the 76 Satisfy You because of the fact that I didn't remember it, but the moment like the I Got Five on it riff goes off, like boom, got it. Like, yeah, you're absolutely right. That was a huge song. You Don't Know Me Like You Used To was that was like I used to listen
Usher?
No, that's the with Brandy and Shonda and DeBrat.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, like I know that me and because of the fact that you DJ'd at 96.3 at the time, I know I listened to that way more than almost anything else, just because of the fact that you were on there. So
Yeah.
I thought it was always cool to know an actual DJ. But yeah, so like it's really interesting. We're in the 70s right now, right?
Yep.
Literally, I remember listening to 98 Degrees back in the day, but all of these songs, I don't even remember them.
It's all because of you.
We've passed 2 songs from 98 Degrees already, and I don't remember
either one of them.
Well, this gift was on their Christmas album. This gift was on their Christmas album, which I listened to every Christmas. I like that song. I actually like 98 Degrees. I've always had a lot of respect for them. I thought they could actually really sing well.
Well, and that's the thing is like somebody posted something on Facebook recently, and I can't remember what it was, but I mentioned the fact that like 98 Degrees actually had the best sound, in my opinion, out of almost all the boy bands that were popular at the time. Like they just harmonized really well and knew how to flow with each other. Whereas, and nothing against Backstreet or NSYNC or anything, I just don't think the 98 Degrees songs were as good. They just were sung better than the other boy bands, personally. So
that was in the poll that I put up about these music videos, where Chris Schneider and my buddy Nick Joy started talking about 98 Degrees, and then you chimed in with that.
Yeah, I always thought like their harmonies and stuff were way better. So personally, but like again, their songs just weren't. The song choices that were made for them weren't as good.
Sure. Jumping into the 60s, Praise You. I'm pretty sure that Fatboy Slim music video is the one with Christopher Walken, right?
No. The Praise You is where they were dancing out in front of the theater or something, or they're all dancing, standing in a group circle, break dancing or something.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sorry. The Christopher Walken one is Fatboy Slim's Rockefeller Skank. Was the Christopher Walken? My fault. Yeah, you're right. And then Lenny Kravitz's American Woman was from.
I remember that. I remember that vividly because
Heather. That was pretty big. American Woman was big then.
It was on the Austin Powers soundtrack.
The song of all song, Mandy Moore, Candy.
Yes, I never bought the album. I never bought the album, but I bought that CD single for that song.
That is still my jam. And it when I want to go back to 90s, that is on the list. I mean, and I remember it being on TRL and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking like, this girl's so sweet. She'd never be Britney, but she's kind of her own thing. And I just fell in love with her from day one. And I still, to this day, have a soft spot for Mandy Moore. Hell, I go straight for Mandy Moore.
Bugaboo by Destiny's Child. Are you kidding?
Time out real quick. Are you a Walk to Remember fan?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay. And then so do you watch This Is Us?
You know what? I'm just a couple seasons into This Is Us. I have not. It's hard to keep up with TV shows.
Gotcha. You like to marathon them instead of watching them live? Right.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, I have every Mandy Moore movie.
Nice.
Yeah. So even the one where like she's like supposed to be a bad girl.
Oh, literally, A Walk to Remember is probably the only Mandy Moore movie I can think of.
That movie, man. That movie was. I was not expecting to like that movie. It hit me harder than I was expecting it to hit me.
It's because it's Nicholas Sparks, bro.
No, dude, I don't care for almost any other Nicholas Sparks book or movie adaptation.
Dude, I have to tell you about that movie. That is one of the few times I got it wrong when when we used to book the movies and stuff and book them in the theaters and do the show schedules. And I put that shit in I put that in the smallest theater we had at Greenwood, and that thing sold out. Like we had to move it the next day into the biggest auditorium.
Greenwood yet? No, you're right. Sorry, I was thinking that Walk to Remember came out in '99.
I put that sucker in a less than 100-seat auditorium opening night, and that thing sold out the evening shows.
Oh wow!
We had to turn around and move that into the biggest auditorium for the next day. It was just like, oh well, this is doing really well. So
interesting side note with that movie. So I had watched it. I knew what happens in the movie. my wife had a friend who had passed. And this is when we were just like we were either just friends or just dating at this point. I can't remember which.
Mm-hmm.
And her friend had passed, and like a few months had gone past, and somebody was like, "Oh, you should watch A Walk to Remember." It must have been while we were dating, because I was like, "You don't watch that movie by yourself. Do not." And then she was like, and then like I called her one night after whatever I was doing, and like she was a mess, and I was like, "What's going on?" And she was like, "I just watched A Walk to Remember," and I was like, "I told you to watch that by yourself." Like, you do not watch that movie. Like, no. Especially if you're a chick, I would imagine you would probably need a guy next to you.
Mm-hmm.
Or
so Jason, I had cut you off when you mentioned "Bugaboo" by Destiny's Child.
Oh, dude, like I just Destiny's Child in general, right? Like that is like pure 99. Because of the fact that you get before Queen Bee and JT decide to come off on their own, and like these like Bugaboo, like what? Like just a very I don't know, like it's just one of those songs where I'm just like, oh god, I even forgot that existed until I just read.
That's the same album as No Scrubs, right?
That's TLC.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah, my fault. Yeah. What was the other big Destiny's Child song from that album?
Say my name, say my name.
There you go. Yeah.
Can you pay my bills? Pay my telephone bills. Pay my automobile. And maybe then we could chill.
61 is Mariah Carey, Joe, and 98 Degrees with "Thank God I Found You."
Jumpin' was another big one for them
in the late 90s. I can't tell you how many girlfriends I played "Thank God I Found You" for, or girls that I was trying to date.
That song never went anywhere.
No, it didn't. It didn't get me anywhere either.
It fell flat.
Well, and Shane had a Mariah Carey obsession.
Oh, for sure.
In the late 90s. So the fact that he played that for girls does not surprise me at all.
Oh my god.
I was like, this is a great song. Like, this is how I feel about you. You want to hook up now? And it didn't really work very well either then back then.
I can't believe that it blows my mind that like this is Jennifer Lopez, like intro to Jennifer Lopez music, period.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, so that's 21 years now, and I'm thinking like, damn, that's been 21 years.
That woman doesn't look much different.
No, there you go. She looks so much better now.
Yeah, so we're getting into the 50s now with "Waiting for Tonight." That was a nice, enjoyable to watch music video. Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff in that music video.
Waiting for tonight.
LFO's "Summer Girls." I can't lie, absolutely love that song. I remember
that's a fun
video.
one.
So bad. It's so bad though.
It is.
It's so bad.
The lyrics are terrible.
It is. It's total cheese, but it just kind of worked for that period. It worked for that period.
Looked like a girl from Abercrombie and Fitch. I mean, come on.
Chinese food makes me sick.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they like work in Larry Bird.
And somebody went and said, listened to Nirvana and went, can you find the anti Kurt Cobain? Can you find the guy who says stupid crap that they put to pop music instead of rock to this crap music that they play?
Right ahead of "Summer Girls," we've got Lenny Kravitz's "Fly Away," which is probably the song I think about the most when anybody says Lenny Kravitz. Like, that song is amazing. I don't remember the music video very well. I know there are shots of him playing his guitar in it, but I don't remember the story they were trying to tell. But "Fly Away" is a phenomenal song from the 90s.
Sugar Ray Someday was pretty big back then too. Sugar Ray.
Yeah.
Someday. Da, 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 da.
What was I Am Sugar Ray, I think was their big hit that they came out with.
I Just Want to Fly.
Oh yeah,
I just want to fly.
Yep, that was a good one. Number 50 was "Smooth" with Santana and Rob Thomas. Literally, Oh, are you serious, Mayor? Really? I love that song.
How you not like that song, man?
That song, it's
No.
so chill.
Hold on, wait a second here. Okay, Santana, great. Rob Thomas, fine. Like he's a good. Like I like Matchbox 20. The problem with that song is I literally heard it almost the entire year, and for years afterwards, it just kept. It was like on repeat on everybody's.
It's just one of those songs where it just had legs, man.
Oh,
it had legs, but that was kind of a magical pairing where you never would think, Rob Thomas and not Lenny Kravitz, but Rob Thomas and Santana.
Oh.
And then Santana kind of brought him back into the spotlight,
Absolutely. But it's crap, man. I hate that song just because of how it just got played so much.
I get it. I feel you a little bit, but for me, it's one of those songs where like, it's an iconic song, like, but it was burnt to hell. It was burnt to hell.
Don't listen to it. I literally, if it's on the radio now, I change the station because
next time I come into your house, I'm gonna play that.
Jumping into the 40s, Jason Mayer, I gotta ask you, how many times did we play In Together Now at Mark Buckwalter parties?
That's not what we were listening to, dude.
Really?
Roland, what we were listening to.
Okay. I like. Okay. Well, I like In Together Now. Also, maybe I like more Limp Bizkit than I thought.
Yeah, the Limp Bizkit that we were listening to was like late 2000 and like early 01s. But yeah, like
I enjoy In Together Now. I like the rap part with
it's a good collaboration.
I really enjoy that track.
The 40s, man, like Busta Rhymes featuring Janet Jackson. Now that's the song that I want to hear. What's it gonna be?
And that video was so
gonna
good.
Be.
Oh, it was so good.
Early bad CGI. Like when you look back at it, you're like, this CGI is terrible. But back then we were like, they turned into water.
Dude, on top of that, you look at this and you're like Tom Green in the 40s.
Yeah.
The Bum Bum song is in the 40s.
I can't believe y'all done skipped over Christina Aguilera's What a Girl Was. That was like prime 90s.
You're right. Yeah.
I'm so sad. I'm still so sad.
Wait,
why are you sad?
What was the Bum Bum song from? Because Freddie Got Fingered was 2000. So what was... the Bum Bum, that was just something he did for MTV or something, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sad, Jaybird. I'm sad because of the fact that you called me and said, hey, you want to meet Christina Aguilera because I know you're a huge fan. Come meet her and come meet Destiny's Child. And it was the summer of 2000.
Oh, at Deer Creek.
And at Deer Creek.
And it rained.
And I was supposed to, but we were in Chicago for a Comic-Con. And it was a Sunday night. And we were driving back. And I was trying to convince everybody to leave early. And if anybody knew anything about Comic-Cons that year, like we do now, we would have left early on Sunday. Like something happened and we didn't
leave early because I was in line for Kevin Smith for the third time that weekend. That's what happened. I waited in line for a total of like 18 hours over 3 days to get 3 different autographs from Kevin Smith, and that's why we didn't leave early. It's my fault.
It kind of worked out because I think that concert got canceled something because the weather or rain or something.
You guys did you did the meet and greet. Destiny's Child started to perform and then they stopped. And then they canceled the tour, and Christina had to come back at a different time with somebody else as her opener. But yeah, I mean, I'm just sad because I just didn't get to meet him. Like that.
Oh yeah,
Christina, as far as I'm concerned, is still the voice. I wish she would make good music. I love her voice. I can listen to her sing almost anything except for the crap that she already does. But to have met her when I was 19, I probably would have went 6 to midnight just from that day alone. But, that would have been amazing.
All right. If there's nothing else in the 40s, we can jump to the 30s, and I will say Smash Mouth All-Star at 35. I, to this day, love that song. I find it very enjoyable. It was on the Mystery Men soundtrack.
That's one of those songs where, like, it was so big in its day.
Uh-huh.
And, like, if you're having a 90s party or you're just having a 90s flashback, you've got to have that on that 90s soundtrack just because it takes you back to that period. I could do without it, but it is kind of part of, I don't hate the song. I just think of fucking Shrek. You know, when I can see when I hear that song, but it is, if you're gonna put a soundtrack together of the 90s, that song's got to be on there
for sure.
But I know you highlighted that one, but I have to give a little plug to I have a little soft spot for Madonna Beautiful Stranger.
What soundtrack was that on? I was literally
Austin Powers.
Oh, okay.
Shag Me.
I knew it was on a soundtrack.
And it fit with the movie. The video was big. It was big at the time for like a short moment, but
the video had Vern Troyer, right?
I can't quite remember.
I think he shows up.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
But it was that, you know, the sequel came out and was bigger than the original, and Austin Powers is like the biggest thing. And so you got like, oh my God, Madonna's like huge, and like she's connecting with Austin Powers, and like was the biggest thing ever. And so I still like that song, and it was fitting. So
number 32, we got Wild Wild West by Will Smith. Does that even deserve to be on this list?
Good song, shitty movie.
Okay.
I enjoyed the song, especially listening to Drew Hill doing this. Yeah.
Yeah. Back that ass up.
I was gonna say, like,
you look good. Got to back that thing up. You're so fine. Won't you back the thing up?
And then you guys are both Backstreet Boy fans. I don't know. All I Have to Give. Does that deserve to be on here? Is that one of their better songs?
Of course it does.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah, you don't know that song?
I don't. I'm not I didn't listen to boy bands then because like all the girls I was trying to date at that point liked boy bands, so I refused to listen to boy bands. So I totally missed out on Backstreet Boys, 98 Degrees, NSYNC, whatever, the O-Town or whatever. Like I missed out on all of those.
Oh, I wish I could give my love to you. Your love is all I had to give.
And listening to that, I understand why I didn't listen to that song when it was on the radio.
All I Have to Give is a great, great, great pop boy song. Okay. Boy band song. So.
Was Backstreet Boys your favorite boy band of the 90s?
No, NSYNC then Backstreet for me.
NSYNC then Backstreet. Mayor, what about you?
Which song did we were just talking about?
Well, we were just talking about All I Have to Give.
But it should be Backstreet Boys. Because
YouTube's not going to like the fact that you put that on there.
Plaque back in the day.
Holy, look at that. How did you get that?
Because I liked them and I promoted them, and so my boss had the record company send me a record plaque.
Woo, that's pretty pimp.
You're fucking me up, Shane. That used to be hanging up in his condo when we used to hang out.
That's a pretty dark. That was a pretty dark point in my life. I don't remember much of that time.
I wish I could give my love to you.
Mayor, no. Backstreet Boys or NSYNC? What was your boy band?
That's a tough one, man. Like NSYNC definitely had like the more fun vibe to them.
Because they did Bye Bye Bye, right? They were the Bye 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 guys. Yeah, okay.
I saw Backstreet Boys from the second row at Deer Creek, so like I can't like that was pretty cool. Like wasn't
I met NSYNC, so
yeah.
You never met the Backstreet Boys?
No, I've never met the Backstreet Boys, but I was so disappointed because they came to the station one day when I was not there, and they weren't popular yet here, and the station basically didn't allow them to come in, so they had to sing out in the parking lot.
What?
And then like months later they're the biggest thing, you know?
Wow.
Well, that's like Britney Spears.
Uh-huh.
So we went the NSYNC did a concert here at the Mariah Theater, and Britney Spears was the opener.
Okay.
And so no one knew who Britney Spears was. And so we got there and did a setup and got set up and stuff for the station, before the concert. And then we went across to the I always forget the name of it. What's the place across? That's the Irish place?
No, it's the German place.
The Rathskeller?
Yes, thank you.
Rathskeller? Yeah.
Yeah. And so we were starving. And so I got a phone call and they said, hey, you want to come over and meet the opening act in like 15, 20 minutes? I'm like, we're starving. We just ordered our food, blah, blah, blah. And, at the time it was Britney Spears. You know what I mean? And then like fucking 2-3 weeks later, number one, like the biggest thing in the world. It's like
another story from that. Cause that was the NSYNC tour for the first NSYNC album. And that's when like they came out on their motorcycles, right? Because like nobody knew, like they weren't nearly that big. And obviously they're at the Marat, right? Instead of being down at Deer Creek or whatever. But in Britney, like you said, it was literally 2 or 3 weeks before she hit Baby One More Time. Right before that went off. And one of our friends, Tony Linter, was a security guard working for ESG at the time in downtown, and he was working backstage. And he's standing on like the on the curtain, like inside the curtain area. And at one point in time, Britney walks right up to him. She's like, "Hi, my name's Britney Spears." And he's like, "Okay."
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, he was like, I'm not kidding you. It was right when like that 2 or 3 weeks when she exploded. He was like, motherfucker, like I just literally acted like she was nobody 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yep. And now she's the biggest thing ever.
So now I try to never take advantage of a star if I can meet him within reason, so.
Sure. And this is the sad moment where like I wish Chris Schneider was on this call so that I could ask him who his favorite boy band member was back then.
So it definitely.
I probably have to say NSYNC for Chris.
You think so?
Then Backstreet, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't even put O-Town in there.
When I was in the second row at Deer Creek, it was the Black and Blue tour, so that was on their coming back down to earth moment. So
702 was the name of apparently a female band, maybe?
Where my girls at? From the front to back? That's a Nets jam right there.
I do not remember 702 at all.
I don't remember
Where my girls at? From the front to back. You remember that song?
I remember the song. I don't remember the group.
Man.
Yeah, 702. They were like 2-hit wonder.
What was I assume 702 was their area code?
Yes. I think that may be Baltimore, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I'll hit it up. Hold on.
Look at a 702 area.
Is it Baltimore? Maryland?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Good Lord.
All right. Is that where 702
way
is
off
from?
on the area codes there.
Wikipedia 702 and find out if they're from Las Vegas.
They have to be, right?
They have to be, but what if they have some story that does not relate to Las Vegas at all? And I'm now curious, 22 years later, where 702 came from.
702, named after the area code of their hometown of Las Vegas.
There we go. All right, so that's a very boring story. Let's move into the 20s now. At the last thing in 30, number 30 itself was Mariah Carey again with Jay-Z, which I can't lie. As big of a Mariah Carey fan as I was, I didn't realize this song was 99. Like, I thought this was on her, not Butterfly, the Rainbow album, which I thought didn't come out until 2000. So I don't know if maybe they released the Heartbreaker single early.
That was a good video too.
Yeah, like I remember that. But again, when I saw it on the list, I was like, I swear that's a 2000. Like, I'm pretty sure that's on the Rainbow album, which came out in 2000 when I was in California. But maybe they released it.
I think it did, but the single came out in 99.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Because it was on the same album as Thank God I Found You.
Oh, actually, that's a good point. You're right about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know this.
You are right. What about the 20s?
Well, hold on, but interesting looking at the 20s, right?
Yeah.
Like, you had to be big if you're not a pop rock band, if you're a hardcore rock band, and Korn is sitting here at 29.
Yep.
Like, you have to be big if you're on TRL and you're you're actually.
Korn was huge back then.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, like, nobody, like, they're like. There's nobody else besides Korn on here that's an actual hard rock.
Orgy.
I know, but Korn
Orgy's
was
on
played
there.
a shitload on TRL, though.
Oh, yeah, totally. They
Orgy,
probably paid a lot of money for that.
Orgy's
I don't
number
remember
18.
at all.
Okay.
Where are you at, Shane? You were just all over the place. You just
No,
moving
well,
forward.
he was saying there was nobody like hardcore like Korn, but I put Orgy in that category.
Orgy.
And it came in at number 18.
Okay. Kid Rock Cowboy was good for a minute, and then I'm
Sure.
like over it. But it was a good song.
Hey, we're in the 20s. You're jumping too fast.
Well, here we go. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that I really love in the 20s. What's My Age Again was a very fun music video. You Drive Me Crazy was obviously from Drive Me Crazy, the movie that came out in like October.
She's
Love that.
so hot
Yeah.
in that music video.
That music video is fantastic. That's the cheerleader music video, right?
Yeah,
Is it a cheerleader costume? Yeah.
It's what the cast from Drive Me Crazy is in it.
Yep.
It's like an industrial house, like an industrial warehouse or something that they kind of raved out.
But part of it is also in the gymnasium. The cheerleader aspect is in the gymnasium.
Sure, I'll go with that.
Because there's a basketball goal behind her that I remember.
I just can't see.
But I mean, then you've got Why Don't You Get a Job by The Offspring was a fantastic song. Angel of Mine by Monica. Lou Bega's number 5.
Now, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
And I've talked about that song "Angel of Mine," Monica, with other people recently. Nobody knows it, and I'm like,
What?
how do y'all not know this song?
Monica had 2 songs that I cared about. Angel of Mine was one of them, and That Boy Is Mine is the other one.
I'm just glad to see a white person know that song.
Yeah,
because
100%.
Angel of Mine was awesome, man. It's a
Yeah.
great. I totally agree with Shane. It was a great song.
Like Chris and Jenny do not know that song, and I'm
What?
like, Angel of Mine.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
we played the shit out of that song. Like, how do you not know that song? And I'm
And
like,
it was good.
I have to work on their black music.
Number 21, my all-time favorite Tupac song was Changes. And the music video was very enjoyable too, trying to show like the homeless community and stuff like that in the music video. Like, very much enjoyed that song and that video.
I remember that song being big, and I was just kind of like, why are they putting Tupac on a Bruce Hornsby song?
Because Tupac can do anything, and he
I
does
know,
it
but it was just kind of like, it was just like Bruce Hornsby, that's just the way it is. I just kind of never pictured that with Tupac. I mean, in the end, it works, but it kind of like, it kind of makes Tupac a little...
It's better than any sampling that Jay-Z that Puff Daddy or Jay-Z ever did.
I know, I just...
Like,
I never...
Changes is top-notch, like, perfection, in my opinion. I like the way he changed the lyrics and kept the same... He kept the same message that Hornsby did with Changes. He changed the lyrics to make them relevant to 20 years later, but got the same message across that Hornsby was trying to do in the 70s.
80s.
Are you sure?
Bruce Hornsby is the 80s, man. I was born in the 70s.
I get that, but I feel like Changes was still like 77.
No, I'm talking about Bruce Hornsby, The Way It Is.
I'm going to look it up.
That's just the way it is. Some things never change. That was like 86.
That was 86. You are 100% right.
Yeah, dude, I know my music, man.
I know you do. That's why you're here, to correct me. I thought that was a 70s song. I was obviously incorrect. But so it was 13 years later.
Yeah. Blink 182 was they were just so huge back then.
And they were fun. They did
they
very immature and ridiculous stuff in their videos.
Now, I could have them on the 90s soundtrack because it's just so fitting for that time. And and whatnot. And then Jennifer Lopez, If You Had My Love, I've got a soft spot for that song. I just
100% agree.
For a debut song from her, I'm like, God, it's been 21 years already. That's just a great song.
Yep.
Not a big fan of Larger Than Life Backstreet. That's not one of my favorites.
Really?
Of there. I think and again, not being involved in the boy band movement, that's one that I do remember the music video, and that was probably one of the Backstreet Boys songs that I did like at that point. Okay. All right.
And I don't know why, but I seem to remember enjoying that song. Mayor, what you looking at?
Christina, all day long, man. I'm in a bottle, baby.
And God, Eminem, My Name Is, man.
Yep.
And I remember hearing that, like, what is this? What is this song?
Well, hold on. You're jumping a little bit ahead of us. Let's do the teens real quick. We got 10 to 20 real quick. Kid Rock's Cowboy.
That song's so much fun.
It is.
Oh, it's so fun. And at 98 Degrees, I do cherish you. Like, this is literally like the 98 Degrees song. Like, there's no other song for them.
That's a good song.
I don't remember Sometimes by Britney. Like, obviously I would.
Sometimes I run.
Oh yeah. Okay, I apologize. I do remember that.
It was out on like a pier.
Sometimes I scared.
She was in like a white outfit, crop top, like it had just accented her boobs.
It was her follow-up to "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time."
Okay, I'm sorry. I do remember that. I do remember that song now that you guys have educated me. All the Small Things, fun song. If You Had My Love, like you said, fun. Larger Than Life, I enjoyed. No Scrubs. We finally got the No Scrubs by TLC, which I do remember really enjoying that song in that video.
Michael Keaton really appreciates everybody who says No Scrubs. So.
Really?
No. What was that? The Other Guys, when he was the captain for.
I got you. Yeah, got you. Yep. I did not put those pieces together. All right, so we're now gonna. No Scrubs was number 11. We're gonna enter the top 10. We'll actually go through the top 10 to wrap up this episode. Christina Aguilera's "Genie in a Bottle." On the Facebook poll I put up, this was tied for third of the most votes of videos from 1999 that people enjoyed. How do you guys feel about "Genie in a Bottle"?
I love the song. Video was so-so to me.
Okay.
It's really weird when we're going through all these songs, and I'm not really thinking of the videos. I'm thinking more so just the songs itself.
Sure.
But that was a big song. That was like for a debut song. She came out after Britney, and it was just like, okay, she's trying to be Britney, but she can actually sing. You know what I mean? Like, and she kind of changed the game up. And I just remember she was just bigger than life. Britney was still more popular and sold more albums, but you had a respect for Christina because she could just fucking sing.
So Christina and Justin Timberlake, I remember, were on the Mickey Mouse Club.
Yes,
is that right?
And Britney was too.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. I couldn't remember if Britney was also.
And during that time frame, you also had Ryan Gosling
and Justin Timberlake.
We already said Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, I said Justin.
Oh, you
I
did?
knew Justin. Yeah, I knew Justin.
Oh, must have been my shitty Wi-Fi that kicked off.
So number 9, Kid Rock's "Ba Wata Ba." A song I absolutely love, but I can't remember the video. So
the music video is like him standing on, like at the very beginning, it's him standing on like a it's almost like, I want to say it's in either a trailer park or it's in a junkyard. I can't remember.
It's just like they play those at Trump rallies.
Okay.
Gotta pull in that Trump card now.
Well, I will say that I love Kid Rock. I hate Donald Trump, so we can just separate those two things. Number 8 was "Livin' La Vida Loca," and it was tied.
He's on here 3 times then.
Is he? Okay.
I totally did not see it. Must have been the smaller print for this one.
Probably. It was tied for number 5 on the poll that I put up on Facebook of videos people remember. And Jason is really getting into the video right now.
For the Nookie.
Oh, you're jumping ahead? Okay.
Just one step.
Yeah, but all right, that's what we're talking about. Ricky Martin, real quick. Jay
But
Bird,
he's tied with Nookie. So.
I stand corrected. You are correct. So nobody cares about Ricky Martin. Limp Bizkit's Nookie was also tied for number 5 on the poll. But again, I don't remember the music video for this one.
It's just Fred Durst. He's walking down the street, and it's like a camera right in front of him. So he's walking towards the camera. The camera's pulling back the entire time.
Oh, wow, okay.
Just like talking to the camera, and he's gesturing and everything else.
All right.
So, and then there's like they cut that in with like him performing on like he's like they're in an alleyway or maybe like a garage.
Okay.
And like him and the crew him and the band up on the stage, and like kids down partying and slamming to the Nookie. So
I like it. Jaybird, did you like the song or the video?
For Nookie?
For Nookie.
Hell no.
Hell no.
I had a respect. I have a respect for Limp Bizkit and Fred Durst for their music overall. It was just too loud for me. It was just like, I can see why it was popular. I can't believe it was this popular, but I like some of their other stuff better.
Well, and I feel like the more popular they got, the more they pulled back on like how like loud it was.
Right.
Because I feel like the next album, because like this is Busted Stuff, and I think the next album, which is Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavored water, like that one definitely. There's a little bit more of like, we're going to go a tiny more pop and pull back on the angry.
Yeah.
But I totally can see where you can come from with that attitude, with that towards them. So
according to my buddy Nick Joy, like 98 Degrees is not a terrible band. They somehow made their way into number 6 in all of 1999. How do you guys feel about The Hardest Thing? Because I don't know.
It's a great song.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Is The Hardest Thing a sexual reference?
No, it's not.
Okay. What's the hardest thing?
You want to break up with someone, but guess what? It's one of the hardest things you have to do.
Oh, okay.
It's the hardest thing ever. Have you not seen that? You don't know that song?
No, I don't know it.
Like Dr. Zhivago. Da-da.
Wait, they put Dr. Zhivago into the lyrics?
I think so.
Okay.
It's the hardest thing you'll ever have to do to make it love.
Jason, you look really happy over there. Do you enjoy this song?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay.
As soon as I hit
you, I don't love you. It's the hardest thing. That's a great song. That and I Do Cherish You. Those are 98 Degrees had a handful of good, solid songs.
Give me just one night.
Oh no, Che. Even that silly ass song was fun.
Wait, 98 Degrees did a song in Spanish?
Somewhat.
They said that was like their probably least favorite song of releasing.
Interesting.
But as far as 98 Degrees goes and The Hardest Thing, like I'm not one of those people who like I don't memorize. I know what most of the like groups or artists are, but I don't know necessarily all the names of their songs. Just because I used to throw their CD in and just let it play, and it wasn't something where I was just.
But when Jaybird sings it, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, I know that."
I mean, or if like the moment I couldn't remember The Hardest Thing, but the moment I hit play on it and it kicks in, and I'm like
Dr. Zhivago.
So yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
What it is.
Number 5 was Eminem, My Name Is. Obviously, I was a huge Eminem fan at that point in time. Yep. And
totally fitting.
For sure.
Like, I could see you getting pissed off, too, like, listen to his lyrics like he inspired you or something.
Of course.
You remember Shane had the white T-shirt and then the bleach blonde hair? Like,
that's why I said that.
Yeah, I definitely attempted to live my
you
best
had a little
Eminem
Marshall
life.
Mathers in you back in the 90s.
I definitely did.
Back in the day, all the other guys that I hung out with dyed their hair blonde to look like Justin Timberlake. Shane did it to look like Eminem.
You are
He's
not
like,
wrong.
I gotta be hard. I gotta be hard. It's what the girls like.
The most confusing part was when I dyed my hair blonde to look like Eminem, but still tried to dress like Scott Stapp.
Oh my god.
That was a very confusing point in my life. Number 4 was NSYNC's "Thinking of You." I drive myself crazy. Another boy band song that I don't know. You guys gotta fill me in on this one.
I just literally put this on Facebook yesterday.
Oh, that's the one that you put. Oh, okay. I didn't watch it.
Crazy thinking of you.
So the music video is controversial, according to you.
No, it's not controversial. It's just got some things in there that you would be like, yeah.
It's got a few moments where you're like, okay.
You couldn't do that. Yeah, watch the video, man. Like, it's just, there's just.
I watched the video before we came on tonight.
Nice. Number 3, the third most requested video of all of 1999, "Baby One More Time."
Eat my
I
shit.
feel like this should have been number 2.
You think so?
Yeah, it should have been before Korn. Even though Korn was so big, Korn Freak on a Leash was huge.
It was.
But, I mean, when I think Britney and Backstreet were just so beyond huge.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Let me ask you this. I think I remember correctly. Wasn't the Freak on a Leash video a mixture of animation and actual filming? So perhaps being a groundbreaking-ish type technique for that point might have got it into second place. Because if I remember right, it's the blending of like reality and animation, and I remember the music video being very good.
Yes.
That possibly could be why it ended up making its way to the second place.
Dude.
It was like the
Britney, Maybe Hit Me One More Time. Holy crap. If anybody ever had a hard-on for somebody in a schoolgirl outfit, this just took it to another level altogether. They're just dancing down the...
Yeah, I wouldn't have been surprised if that would have been number 1, actually.
Dude, like, wow.
But no, that's a good review. That's definitely brought back some memories. That's
and
crazy.
it tied with Christina Aguilera on the Facebook poll for the third most remembered video from this time. My Name Is slid into the second slot. We just talked about Freak on a Leash. Again, I don't care so much about the song, but I feel like the video, I remember being very cool for the... It was kind of like the Aha's Take on Me, like, brought into the 99s, like, you know, how awesome that video was in the 80s. It kind of took it a step farther in 99. But the number 1 most requested, or most remembered video on the poll is also the number 1 video from 1999, and that was Backstreet Boys' "I Want It That Way." I remember the song.
I don't think from a video standpoint, I don't think that song or that video was that groundbreaking. Where I think the Britney Spears and the Korn were more video.
Sure.
Yes.
What
they
was
were
the
just
video?
in front of a private jet at a private airport on the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, okay. I remember that one. It was
in a hangar thing or whatever.
It was all of the, like, you know, quick pans around them while they were singing and, like, lens flares and stuff.
Michael Bay shot-esque.
Gotcha.
Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad video, but if they're basing these on video, no. Britney with the damn schoolgirl dress on and the Korn video and shit, even the Eminem video, My Name Is kind of refreshing, or was refreshing back then.
So it potentially could have boiled down to studio paying money to become number 1, or just the song itself was that popular. And
right.
Well, not only that, but like most of the time, if you could guess, would you take a hypothesis that it was more men or women who were calling these shows?
Probably women.
Women.
Yep.
So that's the reason why your Backstreet Boys are number 1.
Yep.
I can see that. Korn. I'm going to go into Jaybird's conspiracy theory on that. I feel like Korn had to have paid to get that high.
But Korn had a crossover, but I mean, you know, Korn was, don't get me wrong, Korn was big on MTV, but I'm sure, again, the labels made that happen. So
for sure. All right, well, that's the top 10, the top 99 of 1999. We talked about the MTV Movie Awards. Any other MTV-ish stuff you guys have any interest in bringing up? I should have looked to see what season The Real World was in 99. If it started in 94, we're looking at like season 5 or 6.
I don't know. I need to find me some Dara episodes and watch some old Dara episodes. Daria, yeah.
Yep, Dario was cool. I was not a Beavis and Butthead fan. I don't know if either of you guys were.
Not really, but every once in a while I would just chime in just to kind of see what they were up to.
Sure,
and then after 30 seconds, I was like, I'm done.
I would watch it, and the thing I did appreciate about Beavis and Butthead was the fact that they were like commenting and had a commentary on like recent music videos and stuff. So it was kind of fun to you got to watch recent music videos with them. I'm a big fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000, so like people talking over movies and videos I thought was kind of a cool concept. But it wasn't something where I was like, I have to watch Beavis and Butthead.
It's like
cool. Yeah.
It's just like, and it was just, and that every fucking high school had a Beavis and Butthead too.
Mayor, what are you looking up?
So, like in 1999, you know what else? Like, Freaks and Geeks came on TV.
Okay,
I'm gonna watch that. That's on one of the streaming channels.
It's on Hulu, I believe.
Sopranos had its first season.
See,
The West Wing had its first season.
Here's what you're doing. You're giving away episode 39 already. Episode 39 is going to be TV seasons of 1999. Like, Friends was in season 5 at that point. Like, we were going to talk about Friends. Right. We'll talk about the TV shows that started in 1999.
Listen to you. We started this episode with a 15-minute conversation about Ted Lasso.
Well, that's because I was so happy
we could have
a
whole episode on that.
Well, we definitely could have a whole episode on Ted Lasso, and that's a great idea for something that goes on in the 30s. The next episode 30 next week, will be the party's on the 30th floor, because the first episode, or the first film in the Die Hard franchise, took place at Nakatomi Plaza, and the Christmas party was on the 30th floor. So episode 30, we're going to look over the entire 5 movies of the Die Hard franchise, or the 3 good movies and the 2 pieces of crap that came afterwards. It's based on a poll that Jason Mayer put up on the Shane Talks Facebook page, asking people what their preference is in order of best to worst of those 5 movies. So we'll look at the people who got their answer correct, and then we'll look at all the people who were not right with what they answered.
I feel like we're watching a 90s music video right now with Jeepers.
Once we get past 12 o'clock, I'm turning position.
All right. Well, thank both of you guys for being on this episode. I loved going back to 1999.
Thank you for inviting.
Talking about movies, talking about music, 2 of my favorite things in my favorite year. Hearing you guys' stories were awesome. Like I just said, next week we'll be talking about Die Hard. We'll look at the 5 movies, the 2 really good ones, the mediocre one, and then the 2 pieces of crap that came in the end. And we'll pull up some people who responded with their arguments for why they put them in the order they did, and we'll tell them why they're wrong. So, again, thank you guys for that. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next week when we talk about Die Hard. Have a good night, guys.
Holla!